This is one of the oldest Ghost Sisters, but almost nobody cares about her. So basically, Ghost Reaper has the effect to remove one monster from your opponent's extra deck if you have that monster in your extra deck as well, whenever your opponent controls more monsters than you do. So if I do what I always do, which is start with the negative and then proceed into the positive aspects of the card, that would be con number 1, the fact that your opponent has to control more monsters than you do. So let's just say your opponent is on an empty board and he goes Fusion Destiny right away to summon Phoenix Enforcer. You cannot use the effect of Reaper because your opponent controls 0 monsters, which is never more than your 0 monsters. That won't happen super often though, so now I'll cover real applications of this card. Of course, you can Reaper, Destiny, or destroy Phoenix Enforcer whenever your opponent activates or summons the Predaplan Verte Anaconda, and also whenever your opponent uses Fusion Destiny when he has a full board, so at the end of his combo. Since this is relevant for practically every single combo deck right now, we can say that this is off to a great start. And speaking of combo decks, it's actually really good against base at hitting a lot of cards such as Needle Fiber, Baroness, or Radon, really depending on your needs, and also against other decks like Dragon Link, maybe hitting Striker Dragon, or Hieratic Seal, or Borreload Savage Dragon, and against the other decks like Prank Kids, either they're hitting the Meow Meow, the Battle Butler, or the Doodle Doo, again, really depending on the situation. Note that unfortunately, the Dragon Link deck can shuffle back the extra deck card that was banished using the graveyard effect of Chaos Space, very similarly to how if you Reaper something in the Virtual World deck, your opponent simply can use the effect of Nyan Nyan to put it back into the extra deck, so definitely have to watch out for that. Now, it also hits Artifact Dagda, which is also played by a lot of combo decks, but I really recommend hitting the Phoenix Enforcer instead because that is the card that enables the Scythe to get destroyed. You're also indirectly hitting the Dagda since the Artifact Scythe will just be sitting there doing absolutely nothing. Against Phantom Knight, you can also hit the Cherubini or Rusty, again really depending on which one looks the most important to your opponent. It's ridiculously good against control decks like Sky Striker and Salamangreat, as crazy as this may sound. A lot of people used to associate Reaper only being good against combo decks, but against these kind of control decks, if you hit stuff like Higari or Sunlight Wolf or Salamangreat Veilings, your opponent will be in a super shitty position. And against Shaddoll decks, so decks that are like Invoked or Dogmatica, whatever, you can either hit the Apkalon or the Winda or the Merkaba. Again, it really depends if your opponent starts immediately with normal summon Alistair and then goes into El Mirage and then secure Gardna, or if your opponent, let's say, normal summons a monster and then goes Nadir Servant, then hitting the Apkalon would probably be better because your opponent has to send something that isn't Apkalon, so he cannot search the Shaddoll Schism. And against DDD, it might actually be almost an insta-win depending on what your opponent's hand is, because a lot of decks might not be able to go into the Needle Fiber route since they do not play it, and they play 3 Gilgamesh, so they heavily rely on the card. So yes, Reaper is a good card, potentially, but only in the right decks and against the right decks, and also in very specific games that might not be game 1, because like I said, if you are going first, you're going to have to control, you will be controlling more monsters than your opponent does, so you won't really be able to use the Reaper. As for the decks that use this card the best, I want to say Flunderies is probably the best at it because it really doesn't need its extra deck at all, but Eldritch is also a very good deck that can play Ghost Reaper. Anyways, that's pretty much all I have to say for this video. Let me know your thoughts on Ghost Reaper in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.